Hi, folks. This is Don Meisner with the North Country Fishing Report. You know, I said in another report, I talked about the reflection that I've had in talking to thousands of people about fishing. And again, I want to reiterate that I listen. I let them tell me their stories. I let them show me their pictures. But one of the things that does disturb me, because it was a part of so many of the conversations that I had, and this it didn't matter what state I was in. It didn't matter whether I was in New Hampshire or Massachusetts or right here in New York. I had a lot of people come up and tell me their story about the great fish that they caught. And they usually are oriented towards a certain species that they want to catch. Well, here's where it gets, I think, dangerous, bad, whatever way you want to put it. I really find this oppressive. And that is, a lot of people would tell me if they would catch a fish that they weren't after, they would take that fish, stick a knife in it, do whatever, throw it on the bank or kill it and leave it on top of the ice. And they would laugh about it. They would almost show a gleam in their eyes about it. And I think it's the biggest thing about it, it indicates to me is two things. Number one, a lack of education, a lack of not understanding that just because the fish you catch isn't what you wanted to catch, you don't discard it, you don't kill it because you didn't want to catch it. People don't understand that all these fish play a role in the environment they're a part of. They each have a distinct role, and the only reason that one fish is made more important than another is because it's what we decide to feel, to believe. And to just kill these species like this, I had one guy talk to me about catching pickerel. Oh, they're a nuisance, he said. Whenever I catch these slimy things, I kill them and I throw them on the bank or throw them in the bushes or whatever. If he's ice fishing, throws them on top of the ice. And I've had other people tell me, going way back in time, people used to be fixated on trout in the Northeast, and bass hadn't yet become America's darling. And people would catch bass, and the stories were prevalent about throwing the bass on the shore. They're a trash fish. We're not interested in them. And I find this appalling. When gobies, now that's an invasive species. I don't know of anybody out there that loves gobies except all the fish species that live in our waters. But gobies, I can't say anything redeeming about them other than they seem to be making all the sport fish bigger. And that's what's drawing people to our area. But when gobies were first discovered, that they come in on a ship and they were in the St. Lawrence River, people were shocked. They were appalled. They feared the end of all our sport fish because the gobies would destroy the fisheries environment. Fish adapted to them. But what our biologists and our DEC said at the time is you have to kill that goby as soon as you get it in the boat. You can't throw it back in. You can't do anything other than kill it. And maybe we can stop the spread of gobies. Well, little did we know that seemed to be almost impossible because gobies spawn 8 times a year. Their numbers just keep increasing, and I'm sure there's millions of them now. But again, that sort of mentality, that thought that our first reaction to catching something we don't want is to kill it. I had another person talk to me about catching dogfish. Or he called them ling, and there's a difference there, not just in terminology, but ling, I believe, are pretty good eating, but they look the same. But anyway, catching dogfish. Now, dogfish have been around before most countries. I mean, they are a prehistoric fish. And there's lots of dogfish that exist in our waters. Black Lake has a huge population of these fish. And that's a nickname for them. But they have teeth that are, treacherous. You don't want them in the boat gnashing those choppers of theirs because they can be dangerous. But my point is, these fish have a role, and they've had a role for so long. Why wantonly would we want to kill those things that are part of our great fisheries environment? I don't get it. I'm appalled by it. I say things, but again, people just believe different things. And I wanted to pass this on to you because I think it's worth us being aware of. And we're probably not going to change it because when most people are fishing, they're going to do what they want. If they believe in respecting the law, then that's what they'll do. If they believe in trying to stretch it and take more than their limit or catch fish out of season or do whatever, they will do that. And if they believe that if the species isn't their favorite species, the one way they can keep from catching them and make their favorite species the champion of the water is to kill everything else, well, I guess they'll do that too. Until next time, folks, this is Don Meisner with the North Country Fishing Report.